Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at ethnicity estimates. Yay! That's right, my results are in. So just to recap, recently I took autosomal DNA tests with 4 of the major DNA testing companies, which was Ancestry DNA, MyHeritage DNA, Family Tree DNA, and Living DNA. I realize I've left 23andMe out of there, and I fully intend to do the 23andMe test, but unfortunately I ran out of money, so that one will have to be in a future video. This video isn't sponsored, which is exactly why I ran out of money. I've been buying these kits myself. So meanwhile, I'll just walk you through the first 4 tests that I've done. Today's video will be focusing on MyHeritage DNA. I bought this kit for $125, including shipping. That's Australian dollars. That was while they were having a special though. So normally the kit costs $155, including shipping. But I highly recommend, if you're not in any kind of rush, just waiting until they have one of these specials, because they have them pretty regularly, not just MyHeritage, but all of the DNA testing companies. I'll link the unboxing video below, just in case you're interested in seeing what was inside the MyHeritage kit. But basically it was one of the cheek swab DNA tests. So MyHeritage actually sent a little video along with the results, which was, I thought, a really cool way of like revealing your results and getting you excited about it. So without further ado, I will show you my video. Welcome to the shareholders meeting for Vanessa Incorporated. Are there any questions before we get started? Yeah, I got a question. Who put you in charge? Well, since I'm the majority shareholder with more than 80% of the shares in this company, it makes sense that I would be running this meeting. Isn't this a democracy? Listen, you guys are barely even involved in this company. I'm not even sure why we're having this meeting, to be honest. You're pretty distant in our past. And you two, I don't even know what you're doing here. Maybe we should discuss why we're here. We have a long and documented history of Irish and Scottish ancestors who immigrated to both Australia and the United States. We didn't need a DNA test to confirm this, but it was fun to do, and it just confirmed the fact that we're in charge here. We also love the amazing history and culture of Ireland and Scotland. It's always been a part of us, so no surprises here. I may be from the distant past, but I'm still a good 14%. We think that some of our Irish lines trace back to Vikings. Plus, we've managed to trace one of our Scottish lines all the way back to the famous Rollo. And we watched all 4 seasons of Vikings. Aren't there 5 seasons of Vikings? Well, did anyone keep watching after they killed off Ragnar? Oh yeah. Hey, weren't we supposed to be having a meeting? Yes, let's get back to the meeting. Italy and Greece, what are your thoughts on the direction of Vanessa Incorporated? We didn't even know that you had shares in this company. Oh, come on. Pizza and pasta are our main food groups. How could you not have known that this stuff was in our DNA? Ha! Oh, we've eaten so much of it that it's managed to infiltrate our DNA. We're probably not even Italian. We've probably just eaten so much pizza and pasta that it's now in our system. What do you think, Greece? I think the only thing that I know is that I know nothing. It's a famous quote by Socrates. Ugh, never mind. If you want to know how I fit in, just look up at the wall behind you. Yes, a painting by the great Italian painter, Raphael. Well, yes, but The subject matter is Aristotle and Plato, two of Greece's philosophical heavyweights. Okay, anyway, let's move on. We have several reports that we need to get through today. Okay, so there are a few things to unpack here. The first is that between all of the 4 companies that I did tests with, my results were different for every single company. So I'm going to talk about what that means in a minute. Regarding the MyHeritage ethnicity, it wasn't exactly what I expected. So the Irish and Scottish was 100% expected. I knew that was going to be there. Scandinavian wasn't too big of a leap. I didn't really think it would be that big of a chunk, but I know it's in my more distant ancestry, but yeah, I thought it was probably a larger chunk than I was expecting. The Italian and Greek / South Italian was a total curveball. I didn't expect that one. It is only about 5% in total. I've never found any Mediterranean in my tree, but there are still some mystery lines that I haven't figured out, so it's possible that there will be some in there. It could also be a bit of an error, but that'll have to be compared to the other testing companies and of course what I may discover in my tree. So as I mentioned, I've done 4 tests and they came up with 4 different ethnicity estimates. Just to clarify with that, that doesn't mean that one's right and one's wrong or anything like that. There's no scientific sort of absolute ethnicity estimate. So don't look at them as being right and wrong. The way they work is that they get a reference population from an area and then they'll create like a sample of that population, and then they will run your tests against their sample population and see whether you match with them. So if different companies differ, that's only because each of them has their own different reference populations. Sometimes they even group them into different regions. So one company might put all of the UK as one region, and another company might separate England as one and Ireland and Scotland as one, or some might divide Ireland and Scotland. So depending on how you choose to divide it, you might come up with different results, but I hope that makes sense. Every company has its own method. So every company has their own regions and every company has different reference populations. So that means that with one company, I might match more with one, and with another company, I might match more with another. And like I said, that's not really about right and wrong. It's more about looking for patterns. If I test with 4 different companies, and I'm not saying that you should test with multiple different companies necessarily, like unless you're really invested in it, it's really not worth it. You're probably not going to learn anything more from testing with every company. But if you test with multiple companies like I did, what you've got to do is look for patterns. So if I have, you know, one that says Irish and Scottish and another one that says Irish and another one that says Scottish, I could figure that, yeah, Irish and Scottish is definitely a big proportion. But if I have, say, just, let's say one that gives me a tiny proportion of some other completely random one, like say French, let's say I got 2% French in one of the tests, but in none of the others did I get that. Well, then I might think that could just be an anomaly, it's not maybe worth chasing, but it's worth still keeping in mind. The other thing to remember with these companies is that it's not set in stone, so they're constantly updating their data. The more samples that they get, the more that they can refine their sample populations. And so you might notice that you get updates on your ethnicity estimates. Like Ancestry have done this several times. I think MyHeritage have done it at least once as well, where you might log in and they'll give you a new updated ethnicity estimate, and it might be slightly different to your last one. And that doesn't mean that either are really, it's not about saying the last one was wrong, it's about having a more refined technique and a better sample to test against. So they're only going to get better. They're only going to give you more specific results. So if you had an ethnicity and then it seems to have dropped off in the updated version, that just means that they've refined it and probably it was a bit of an anomaly that was there in the first place. So one more thing to mention is that you can upload your data from one test to another sometimes. So For example, I just tested with MyHeritage, but let's say you've tested with Ancestry and you're thinking, oh, I would like to try MyHeritage. You don't have to go and buy a kit with MyHeritage. You can download your raw data from Ancestry, or like a lot of them let you download the raw data. You can find out how to do that. And then you just upload it to the other website. So you can download from Ancestry, upload it to MyHeritage, and in a few days, they'll give you an ethnicity estimate, and that'll be, you know, probably a little bit different to your Ancestry one. There is a little cost involved. I think it's about $40, but if you think about it, that's way cheaper than paying $150 or so on a whole new test. So if you're just curious to run it against different reference populations, you know, MyHeritage will run your sample against their reference populations, and it's a whole new calculator. It'll come up with something new. So then once again, you can compare that to your Ancestry result and see, is there a pattern? Is there something that you can deduce from that, or does it come up with something completely different that's worth investigating? Okay, so I could keep talking, but I feel like this video is getting long enough already. Make sure you stay tuned into this DNA series because I'll be covering all the different companies, and 23andMe will also be coming. Sorry about that one being slow. Also in this DNA series, I will be covering how to use each of these websites and how to use the genetic data to help build your family tree. So the ethnicity estimates are just step one. There'll be heaps more coming. I'll be taking a 23andMe test once I have the funds. It does cost money for me to run this channel, and if you'd like to help me out, you can support my channel by becoming a patron. You can do this by heading to Patreon. I'll put the link in the description below, and I very much appreciate anyone who is a patron of my channel. Patrons also get some rewards, so make sure you check it out. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and hit the subscribe button to make sure that you don't miss out on any. I'll be uploading every Friday from now on, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
What's in store for Vanessa Incorporated? Backstabbing? Betrayal? A hostile takeover? Tune in next week to watch the drama unfold.